So, you want to be an adventurer, eh? Well, short is the life of an adventurer, but if you insist, have a seat, and let me tell you what awaits beyond the torchlight. Ghosts roam these lands, you see, vicious spirits bent on revenge against the living. Their very touch can drive even the most pious men mad. And don't forget about the goblins. The little bastards prey on the weak, seeking out those furthest from the campfire before drawing out their knives and slitting throats. Fancy yourself a dungeon delver? Well, be prepared for the hordes of the undead, all eager to devour your flesh, even if only to get a taste of what it is like to be alive once more. Have I scared you off yet? No? Still yearning for the adventuring life, eh? Well then, best get you properly equipped with a pack filled with anything useful you can find, especially a lantern and a sharp, reliable blade. You don't want to be caught out there all alone and defenseless in the dark. There now, you look like a right and proper adventurer. All that's left is to find you a quest. I hear there's a troll squatting in the swamp down yonder. Water, earth, fire, air. Avatar Legends, coming soon to Tabletop Misfits.
Oh, hello. Welcome back to the tavern. I'm your wonderful host. And tonight we have an interesting guest because she makes everything out of nothing. It's incredible. And for people like me who like to spend lots of money on stuff like this, I respect people like this because they have the skills and to actually craft it. I don't do this full time, and sadly, I don't take the time that I would like to build things. So instead, I buy them. But this is why I bring wonderful guests like this. One of these sides. I don't know. I'm not good at that portion yet. That, yep, down. Cool, got it. And um, this is why I brought our guest on tonight so that she can kind of give us some hints, tips, and tricks to maybe build things out of nothing. So before I continue to blabber on like a maniac, I'm gonna pass it down to our guest, and she can kind of give you a little blurb about who she is. Go for it.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashlyn. I am the Dollar Store DM, and I'm, like he was saying, I make things out of nothing. Well, not really nothing. I make things out of garbage and things I find at the dollar store because I'm cheap. And I also have an inability to pick a singular hobby. So I do a lot of things because I am following the dopamine.
Hey,
So I do a
that's
little
one of
bit
those
of
wonderful
train
drugs.
building.
That's one of those wonderful chemicals needed in order to get through life. So dopamine's great.
Yeah, I
Um,
do a little bit of terrain building, dice making, mini painting, 3D printing, cosplay, uh, DMing,
Everything. Yeah,
all
he's
the things.
almost like me, other than I don't mess with trains. Never been a train builder. Don't really get into that whole thing. Though I will say I saw and I know this is a very rough subject right now with the new game that just came out, but the Harry Potter train for Christmas looked pretty cool, and I almost bought it. But um, yeah. Anyway, tonight had a chance to speak with Ashlyn, and she told me that she's bringing a character tonight that is going to be wacky, crazy, and fun. So we're about to dive into our adventure, and let's figure out what character she's bringing to the world and to the tavern this evening. So our adventure tonight is starting in a small town of Buildswallow. Buildswallow is a fisher's town that's off the south coast. And in Buildswallow, the main import and export is fish. Very easy, very simple. Now, the town is pretty small, it's quiet. People are kind of hidden away from the hustle and bustle of the capital cities and the large metropolis. So let's find out what they're going to act like when we find out who is walking into town. So, Ashlyn, would you please introduce your character?
So, Kikarikiki, or Kiki for short, definitely doesn't walk her way into town. She's about like a lower part of 5 foot, Aarakocra, but a puffin Aarakocra. She's dressed in just kind of dark clothing, not quite black, but definitely blends in a bit with her feathers and her wings. Um, Big jaunty pirate's cap and a rapier at her side. Uh, Her clothes are adorned with a number of little baubles and feather tokens, and she has a very large scroll on her hip. And she very quickly dive bombs her way right onto the main drag of this very small, quiet town.
And immediately you hear gasps and confusion as everybody's looking around as poof, this character just drops in the middle of town. Okay, so why is Kiki here?
Oh, well, Kiki heard a lot about all the fishing. And,
Uh,
as a puffin, she is a bit of a connoisseur on fish. She spends a lot of time on her ship drying out fish and making jerky so that, we have enough food for long journeys. and voyages. And so she's really out here kind of scoping out maybe a new source of fish. She used to, fish for herself when it was just her on the boat, but now there's other people and she has to care for them. And, they're not particularly good at getting the fish. So that's kind of fallen to her now.
Okay. So, how far out is Kiki's boat?
Kiki's boat's about a mile offshore,
Okay.
but as if you were looking at her as she was flying, she was definitely flying at a speed of 150 feet every 6 seconds.
Whoa!
Because rogues are super fun.
Yep. So that's gonna drop us to a new question. You said rogue. What kind of rogue is Kiki?
She is a swashbuckler rogue and a sea sorcerer. So not only is she super fast in the air, but she's also super fast in the water and can breathe it.
Oh my
She's an
goodness.
all-terrain puffin.
This is fantastic. Oh my goodness. So Kiki is a fast swimmer, fast flyer, can move in and out with the quickness. I'm guessing extremely stealthy on top of it.
Entirely.
Though
She's
it
also
sounds like she doesn't really
paying.
mind being out in the open.
Oh, not at all. But she's also paying very close attention to any taverns or the like places people just get a little loose and don't always keep their guard up when they're talking.
Ah,
Because Kiki herself does actually run a very expansive spy network.
wow. So Kiki is just the over top, dark lord of the spy channel, it sounds like. However,
Nobody ever suspects the little puffin girl of collecting all their secrets.
now mind you, when you brought Puffin into the picture, I'm trying not to like completely bust out laughing. But with fun and unique character to bring to the party. Um, where did because there are going to be people out there that are going to watch this and they're going to want to take characters that are given to them through the books and they're going to want to make them their own. Where did the inspiration for Kiki come from?
Gremlin brain. I
Gremlin Bird.
I played Kiki in a very long-standing campaign that's got a lot of like dark themes and drama, and all my previous characters got very traumatized. So I went, I'm gonna be chaotic and be a pirate puffin. Basically thought about what kind of seabirds are there. Seabirds kind of cute. What would no one think of as a high-level pirate who's actually really capable of stabbing people?
Oh no. Yep.
Puffin.
Puffin. I hope, oh my goodness, do I hope to see what Kiki is going to look like. Um, this will be, I will say, our most unique character to this day. And I hope it brings some excitement as we continue our journey through the tavern guests and people take the chance to go outside the box a little bit. Let me think. So you're a rogue. What was Kiki's first big experience that they had been through?
Well, Kiki, a big thing with her tribe is they go out for about a year by themselves in the ocean. You
Okay.
are only in the water for that entire year. Yes, this is a thing that puffins actually do.
I did not know that.
And in that year, you're usually supposed to then come back and, live with the tribe and settle down and have little eggs. And Kiki in that year made this very strong connection to the ocean itself and met a pirate named Sabella. Sabella runs now her pirating days are a bit over. She's actually part of Kiki's flock now, as she runs a brothel called the Gilded Lily.
The Gilded Lily. Fantastic.
So she's one of Kiki's many agents. Was her first mentor,
Okay.
but she kind
So
of taught
went
Kiki how to
from
sail and live a life of adventure.
there you go. What is Kiki's favorite fish that she's hunted down so far?
Ooh, she's particularly fond of mackerel.
Okay.
They make really good jerky when you like you fillet them and just like
Yep.
leave them on the line with a little bit of salt.
There you go.
But in a pinch, even like the sea lice on the boat will work for Kiki.
Okay. So everybody else is not so fond of that idea, but Kiki's good
Hey,
with whatever.
everybody's happy that the deck is clean when Kiki's there.
So what was Kiki's first big adventure?
Kiki ended up, once she got her own little boat, made her way a bit more south from where she was born and actually met up with an artificer named Areno. And he's a bit bookish, and Kiki definitely stole a bit of his paper and made nests out of it. But they get along, and they set out together into their first real foray into the ocean.
Nice. So let's see. What what in this moment where we're at right now, would you say Kiki is in her younger years, she's kind of experienced, or is she extremely seasoned at this point in her career or in her
Like
adventuring?
Kiki's about 6, so Eric Cocker reached maturity around 3 years old. They live to be about
Right.
30.
Yep.
She's about 6 years old. She's
So she's
left
still in
through
her prime for chaos.
Oh, very much in the prime for chaos.
Love it. All right. Well, this is a great time for our audience. If there's anybody in the audience who wants to ask questions about the characters, you're welcome to toss those out in the chat room, and we'll continue to ask those as we continue our story. Now, let's see. We've heard Kiki's experience, or her first big experience. Does Kiki still have? Because this is a thing that seems to be a commonality in characters. When does Kiki actually have people that she still can connect with outside of the party?
Um, it's Sabella, unless you're talking like members of her flock.
Yeah,
Her
members of the
flock is
flock.
her little network.
Yep. So her flock at this point is the network, right? And they're
Yeah.
just kind of
So
out.
across all the port cities, just in little taverns, usually the seedier ones. But she likes to send a few into the like really nice taverns because, nobles have the best secrets.
They have the best
They
secrets and
have the
probably
most
the
power.
largest pockets. So you're right. Now you were saying you were playing this character, and I know from our talks before that you do a lot of dungeon. Kiki was a character you were actually playing though, and what is the most, I would say ridiculous, but the character seems to be a pretty good connoisseur of ridiculous. What is the most extravagant thing that Kiki has pulled off in her moment, in her time?
Kiki, when they were once fighting a kraken, now Ashley understands, knowing kraken stat blocks, that this was ineffective, but it was really badass. Kiki, because we were, in a storm on the
Yep.
ocean. Kiki, being a sea sorcerer, very versed in lightning magic, took the energy of the storm and shoved it down through herself and into the tentacles of the kraken. Now, krakens are actually immune to lightning damage, so it would have been really cool.
If that didn't,
It was
if
less
you would have
cool
been able
because
to,
it didn't do anything.
yeah. But it looked pretty, probably.
It looked really cool.
I was gonna say it looked really awesome. You just like,
So bad.
and hmm, did not work the way I wanted it to. Now, this is an interesting question because I understand that metagaming can be very difficult for some people at times. Did you know at that moment that the Kraken wasn't gonna work?
I had a suspicion.
Okay.
I've never run a kraken before, but I knew that they had a
They're
lot of
kind of
immunity.
high level, so you don't see them very often, or you see them in like as like part of the story, but not. I'm
We
going
did
straight
not
after
kill
a
that
dragon.
kraken. We managed to run away.
Well, that's good.
We didn't die.
I
Because,
mean, that's kind of
cannons
the thing you're
don't work
learning.
against krakens because they're immune to damage from non-magical things.
Yeah, yeah. So weapons and most items, it's just, and it depends. Like I said, it depends on what level you're at. You're using an actual sea weapon like a boat, and does it actually affect things? Because you don't have arcane ballistas or things like that, you're really not going to do much to it. So
Your stitches right back up.
Yep. Oh man, I've only seen a kraken ran once. I've never had the opportunity to run a kraken. Um, I hinted at one in an adventure, and they they took that hint very safe in not going after it. Same thing with the dragon turtle. Like those types of creatures, you just don't mess with unless you really are ready to dive into that terror.
Yeah.
What level did Kiki get to before your adventure ended?
I'm actually still playing Kiki. So Kiki
Oh,
right
there
now
we
is
go.
level 13.
13.
A cool thing with the world is it's a world that's been going on for about 29 years.
Okay.
It's multiple games per weekend, and so everybody's stories affects each other. Which also means you've got people of varying levels. In our party, I'm like the third highest. We're all about in that same area, and then we have one person who's
Right.
level 5. There was 2 people who were level 5. So the
Okay.
captain of the ship and Kiki's little protege are
Are
level
level
5.
5.
So
Now,
we keep them safe.
I was gonna say, now
We
that's an
take
interesting
damage.
concept though, because the power creep in a Dungeons and Dragons game can be extremely aggressive.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a dangerous world.
Yeah. Do they enjoy it being that low level?
Yeah. Most people come in that level. You only can if your character dies in combat, you can come back as a character of a range of levels. You kind of roll for whatever your level's going to be. If you
Right.
just retire the character, you come back as level 1 or 3.
Oh wow. Okay.
So most people are actually more in this area.
Yeah.
We're just weirdly high level for this world.
So
Which
you
makes
said
me
this is kind of one of those things where multiple groups are going through. So is this done at a game store? Is this at somebody's house? Like how?
online. So if you know
Online.
Got DM,
I do. Yeah.
right? So this is his world. It's Evermore.
Okay. Nice.
So it's a whole bunch of us. We live across. One of the people in my party lives in Germany. He
Yep.
plays RA.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. And one thing we've talked about doing as the Misfits is doing multi-world thing where people are coming into the world. And thankfully, most of us that play in the game are writers for the company GUI Cube out in Colorado, which is where we're going. And their world's massive and full of, I think I've got 5 books now from them at least that I can pull from. And it's a community world, so it's written by, I think we're up to between 400 and 500 people have written into the world. So yeah, it's intense. Now there is a small or group of them that are kind of like I wouldn't call them gatekeepers, but they're the ones that keep the lore to make sense between everything. But people can actually write in anywhere between 500 words to full locations, depending on what they're looking for, and you can then write it in, and then they take those writings and they put it towards the actual book itself to write you part of into the world. And then you can get luxury of to actually go in and do full games with them. Where, like last year, I wrote The Witch's Wrath, which is in an area of the world, and that was a full adventure, which was pretty amazing to be first published by them, which was fantastic. So yeah, no, the multi-world like overarching understanding to me just sounds so fun. I think I've taken on too much right now to be able to pull that
Oh,
off
it's a
because
lot.
it's a lot, right? And right now, the world I'm living in, running games in, is 3 different worlds. So I think I'm gonna have to cut that down to the one world in order to pull that off. So, um, well, I've enjoyed learning a lot about Kiki, and I think it's going to be fantastic to see Kiki designed and figured out, and have that artistic expression. Now let's swap over a little bit and let's talk about Ashlyn and what you're doing in the community and maybe some tips and tricks for our friends out there that might help them enhance their games. So, what got you into all this?
So at the beginning of COVID, we went to a more, we went digital for our home game. I was running it at that point. Well, I'm still running it. It's just a different one now. And I'm a very visual person. So previously we were basically taking little bottle caps and I would draw an icon and glue it onto the bottle cap, and it would represent the character. And I would do this on top of originally a magnetic whiteboard, and I'd glued like little tiny magnets on the back of the bottle cap so they would stick. So I could draw out the basic map. And then we moved into a actual grid that was just a plain beige grid. And then I made these. This is a piece of an Amazon box,
Right.
that I cut very lightly with a X-Acto knife and took the butt end of a crappy paintbrush I inherited from my mother, and just went, and it created a tile. So I have a bunch of these now. I have ones that are wood grain based on the cardboard DM. So then I kept just kind of expanding on that, bringing in new materials, mostly just garbage. And one of my friends, he plays in my home game, John, he was making a joke. He's like, you're kind of like a dollar store DM. And then that stuck. About that time, I was like, oh, I could totally like put these on Instagram because I need something to do because I'm bored. It's COVID.
Yeah, there's nothing to do.
So that then sparked the name Dollar Store DM. It's all based on a joke my friend made on a just random whim.
Right.
When we were chatting. And then it kind of grew from there. I took a few techniques that I saw from other people and kind of expanded on them. The way I craft is a lot of, let's just see if this works. Throw it together. What could happen? The worst case is it's kind of ugly. Who cares? Because my group, I'm the crafter of the group. Well, not so much anymore, but definitely like the original group, I was the crafter. So like, if they're gonna complain, they can make it themselves, and they won't. So it kind of grew from there, and so I've gained a lot more techniques as I go, but everything kind of just falls back into that mentality of I'm creating things from basic materials, basic techniques. Nothing I do requires anything special. Now, because I have a whole workshop, I have expanded a bit. It's been a few years. I now do own more advanced materials. I have 3D printer. I have a pressure pot so I can make dice. Like, I do some of the more advanced things. I have an airbrush. I haven't used the airbrush yet. I also have a static grass applicator that I haven't used yet. To be fair, my current campaign takes place in the desert. I don't have any need for grass at the moment.
Sounds like one of your players is on chat right now and said you don't have patience either.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't. I have no patience. I have zero patience at all.
See, I see that, and then I completely negate that idea on the fact that you have all that behind you that takes a lot of time.
The thing. This is why I craft the way I do, because I don't have patience. I get annoyed that I have to wait for my hairdryer to dry paper mache.
So you get the hairdryer
I
out.
can't do the like long builds. It needs to be like something that's done within the weekend.
Okay.
So most of my stuff. Let's see, this one's small enough. As I throw my microphone.
Okay, I thought that was a dog, but I was like,
You can
did
tell
you
that
hit the...
Kiki's kind of just based on my own ADHD. This is napkins on top of some cardboard. That's it. This is literally just a pile of napkins with a mixture of 50-50 white glue and water.
And then
That's it.
painted and done.
Yeah. It's just paint. I spray paint. This is why I like using paper mache. I can spray paint it and I don't have to wait for the base coat to dry.
Right.
Spray painted, dry brushed, done.
No, I did. So preparing for the adventure that I'm going to be running in Colorado, I finally took the time to sit down and actually learn how to paint. And I didn't understand what dry brushing was, and it took me forever to understand it. And a lot of bad looking miniatures came out of that. But then I got him done, and I was really proud of myself. And I was like, and I finally learned what I'm doing, because otherwise I was like, I
Always feels
get
so
like
good.
12 of them. I have like 12 of them that are sitting down in front of me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not showing those. But the rest of them look decent. But yeah, they definitely got me into that thought process as well. It's like, okay, I need to get these done quick. I've got this much that's got to get planned for. I have to get prepped on this and whatnot. Now I got the luxury of having a digital display, so a lot of my maps are done digitally. Partially because I run digital 90% of the time, and then we got sponsored last year by Last Game Board, which I don't know if anybody's ever heard of them, but they're a digital display that actually connects to Foundry. So it made my life 100 times easier. The Foundry up out there, and then people that are playing outside the game or on the internet can see what's going on. People that are playing in front of me can see what's happening, and they're all playing together, which is really neat. So I'm taking that out to Colorado to play with. And now I've started to go a little more advanced by buying tiles that I can stack now on the board to give the 3D look.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see if it works. It's about where I'm at right now with it. I'm like, is it going to look ugly or not? Well,
at a point, are there things on the table? Are your players having fun?
Yeah, exactly.
You did your job
right.
Right. And you want like the fastest terrain ever?
Sure. Egg cartons.
It is just a shipping container, also known as a desert building.
There you go.
Literally, one of my players, because I have, if you couldn't tell, a lot of them. As I said, I'm running a desert campaign right now. One of my players brought to me, being like, "Hey, I brought you terrain. This is how you bribe me."
We don't bring you very expensive things. No, we bring you shipping containers.
Yeah. He's like, "Look, honey, I bought you terrain. It came with car parts." But if you want to take it a step further, if you have the time, now just that is fine. It looks great on a table. Throw a little bit of like weird trees with it. Looks great.
Yeah.
Same sort of concept.
Yeah,
I glued on some plastic plants. I made some paper mache awnings and I cut some holes.
That's it. You've got a whole tent.
Yeah. Makes a whole building. It's hollow, so you can lay like your interior and then just take it off. Super, super quick and easy. This is usually the project that if you're looking to get into terrain building, start with shipping containers, whether you're talking like this, where it's this cardboard material. This is pretty easy to paint. It's really easy to cut. If you're looking to actually do any manipulation, super, super simple. Also, if you have a desert campaign, super simple. But the other one that I'll use a lot is this is why I'm in the closet, is styrofoam. I did nothing to this other than paint it and add some hot glue, like sludge, that I didn't even glue down. It just sits in there. But it is literally the styrofoam support from something. I don't even remember what this was.
Something. You're like, I don't know what it's for, but something.
I was really excited whenever I opened that box. I was like, this is a super. But I just took a razor blade and kind of made lines, and I pushed a toothpick into it to make them a little bigger. Done.
Wow.
If you're looking to get into terrain building and you want something that's going to look really impressive for very little effort, shipping.
Yeah, shipping.
Order something off of Amazon or something big, and it will come with terrain.
Like, I have TV boxes, I have monitor boxes, I have so much laying around. It's dangerous.
I have a whole bunch of like very similar shaped ones over there that look like, as soon as I opened it, I was like, these are fighting pits. And some of them have holes in the center.
Right.
I'm like, oh, this is like a vertical. I could have pillars, make some pillars out of maybe rigatoni. And just, I'm really excited to start using rigatoni as pillars.
Really? Rigatoni as pillars, okay.
I mean, it's about this big.
Yeah.
And it's already ridged.
Oh, I guess, yeah. A little bit of paint, done.
Yeah, a little bit of paint, and that is a marble pillar right there.
There you go. Wow. If people are not picking up on this one tonight, there's a bunch of hints here. Especially for the individuals who really like to see the visual of the game. There's nothing wrong, before we dive into this anymore, there's nothing wrong with a full-blown theater of the mind game.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. And to some people, that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
But if there are people out there who really want to dive into seeing the fullness of what could be on your table, yeah, we're getting super amazing tips for things that might cost you. I guess the question is whatever you bought. So it really doesn't matter what it cost you, additional to what you've already bought. Which is
a lot of
awesome.
this is made with things that I just had lying around or were in the trash or from the dollar store, hence dollar store DM. Like I have a whole modular forest set here that is those like scrubber pads.
It's just, yeah,
with some bits glued on them.
With some what?
With some bits glued onto them.
Oh yeah.
Like this particular one doesn't want to stand up, and I have to re-glue him down. But
it gives it the kind of the sway to it, you know.
But do a little bit of a dry brush with some different colored greens on there, and it looks like grass. You didn't have to do any flocking. You just lay it down.
Right. It'd be interesting, and I'm gonna have to go back through your Instagram and see some of the different tables you've built, because I think it's very cool that I've had both sides of the picture on the in the tavern now, because we had Tony Sloan about 4 months ago, and Tony has probably spent upwards somewhere in the 5, maybe close to 6 figures on terrain, and it's insanity.
Like those look amazing.
They do.
And it's partly why, like with mine, I don't build cities, because that's just not how my brain works. Hence I'm gonna crumple some tin foil and put some paper mache on top of it to make some rocks. It's very me. I did not make these. These were made by my buddy. He's Chisel and Foam on Instagram.
Okay.
They're amazing, but they're also pretty simple. It is a block of pink foam with a foam core outside that he's done up so well. Some of them have like garage doors. They're super cool. So you can do those sort of things pretty easily as well.
Yeah.
And there are some amazing creators who make just phenomenal things out of foam. I'm not
Foam.
one of
I'm not one of those.
that would require me to measure and cut precise lines.
And you're one of. I'm guessing you're just like, yeah, that's close enough. That's close
Yeah,
enough.
I'm a here, small one. I crumpled some tinfoil and put a layer of paper mache on top of it, on top of some cardboard. Look at this organic shape.
You're like, no measuring. I don't even have it. Do you even
No
have a
measure.
ruler?
Yeah, it's
Like, I
very
don't
much
know where the ruler's at if I have one.
I can't do it. I admire the people who can. I'm trying to build a building right now, and it's sitting on my desk, and it's not bringing me joy at the moment, so I'm not working on it.
Hey, so what's the next adventure kicking off here in your party coming up? Do you have some terrain that you're building for that, or is that already done?
My home group,
Yep.
they're currently in the middle of a ziggurat. I did not build the ziggurat. Again, I don't build structures. But my friend, Creative Dungeon Crafting, you can find him on YouTube. He made me this amazing giant ziggurat. If you saw, I posted it on a story a little while.
Yeah.
Well, really, one of my players posted it on a story that I then stole. It's amazing. It is fully like modular, and I can take off layers. It's got trap doors. It's so cool.
Wow.
It is the coolest thing I own, and it is sitting in the tavern right now on a like large board because I had to carry it all at once. Like it takes 2 people to bring out.
Oh wow.
Big. It is massive.
You'll have to take lots of pictures of that because we'll want to see that.
So currently, they are fighting their way through a crappy. They fought the kind of evil order, bit racist order, called the Righteous Few that wiped out the changeling rogue monks monastery because they didn't like changelings.
Oh wow.
And now they're headed a bit further in because the Righteous Few have aligned with 3 celestial beings from the Paladin's backstory because he's an Aasimar, and they are reincarnated souls in my world. And he's a fallen Aasimar because he turned against them and they chopped his wings off.
Oh, wow.
Because I traumatize my players.
I mean, yeah, I do too.
They're going to be facing the sisters next go.
Oh, look at that.
See if
Did you paint that?
Lighting on her. I'm not going to be able to get better lighting on her.
Were you able to? Did you paint that, or was
I
that
did.
Or...
So
Nice.
they were such a pain to print because they came in multiple parts. And again, I don't have patience, so even just the time it takes to superglue things, I get very impatient.
Yeah, I know we talked about this. This terrifies me. 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. I don't own super glue right now, so I need to go buy some. And I need to go buy a clipper that actually can shave those things down. So yeah.
What I need is super glue accelerant, which is a thing that I could go buy, but that would require me to go buy something.
So you're like,
And it doesn't exist
maybe.
at the dollar store.
So then you wouldn't really be the dollar store DM then. So, what is the most? I can see that there's a lot you've done. What's the most extravagant thing you've pulled off so far with barely anything in resources?
It says 2 parts. Well, again, lots of paper mache.
Okay.
This hive is, I made it with my friend Andrew at Magebrush on Instagram. It's the only thing I've ever airbrushed. It is entirely made out of IKEA packaging.
Okay. Which is where the hive thing comes from, yeah.
The bottom is just like the styrofoam, but you can't sprinkle styrofoam. And I was not going to hand paint this thing. So on the flooring is a layer of paper mache. It gives a very cool, like, stone-like texture
Yeah.
that then takes to dry brushing really well. The walls, that is, I wonder if you can, yeah, you can see it here. That is just tinfoil
Yep.
with a layer of paper mache on top. They are incredibly sturdy and strong. And the honeycomb is, if you've ever gotten anything from IKEA, you know that really thick cardboard?
Yeah. You cut off
If
the
you
edges.
peel off the top layer of paper,
It's
it's a honeycomb.
Yep.
And it's bendy. So it's literally just that. And this thing fits together. And let's see if I can get all of it on camera.
Oh wow.
It's a giant hive.
Yeah.
It's so big. I
It's
love
so
it so
big.
much.
And hopefully you can find other reasons to use it besides just the hive.
Yeah. I keep looking for a reason to bring it in. Because I
Bring it
used
back
it
out.
for an episode of my stream that I no longer do.
Oh. Nice. I think that's pretty awesome. Like I said, it blows my mind, the creativity of this community, and I have to say I'm a little jealous that you have such a large community around you that are all extremely amazing creators. Because that that's awesome that you as a group are playing this game and you're all putting your own skills and creativity towards it, not just at the story level, but the entirety of the project, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that community was built. So the stream that I had mentioned, Art of Adventure, I started end of 2020. And it really started as I've made internet friends. I want to play D&D with my internet friends. And then one of the internet friends was like, you could stream this. It's a cool concept. Essentially what I would do is every game I had a different cast, and then the cast would craft everything for the next game. So I have so much stuff from like a whole bunch of different creators, which is the coolest thing. It makes me so excited. I have a lot of things printed and painted and built by some amazing creators. It's like Chisel and Foam, Eagle Paints down there. Got a lot of really cool stuff from them. And what it ended up doing is gave me the audacity to reach out to people and be like, hi, I run a game. I run a stream. Once I ran out of the people I was already friends with, I had enough reputation that I could be like, hey, you want to come and participate in the stream? And the amount of wonderful creators who volunteered their time and talents to bring this to life, month after month, I ran it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And the amazing creators that I got to meet through that, like some of my best friends I met through there.
That's awesome. And no, I completely agree. We've been doing this now for almost going on 3 years now, and other than 2, I've had a different guest every week, and the amount of people that have not, I say this a lot, and I really do mean this to the bottom of my heart. There is something about the tabletop RPG community that is so warm and welcoming that you don't see in other communities.
Absolutely.
You can get somebody who is just starting out, that has an amazing idea, and you can bring them on a show, and you can get the same response from somebody who has an amazing following, is making money doing this stuff, and they act the exact same way. They're so humbled and they're so appreciative. And that to me is incredible because I had some friends of mine ask me, and they're like, how do you get these people? I said, if this wasn't the community we were doing it in, there's no way. I'm not going to go to a superstar in any other organization. I mean, even we go like deep in, like, I can't call up a pro football player and be like, hey, come on my show for free. It doesn't work like that. Um, but we've had the luxury of bringing people on with huge TikTok followings, huge Instagram followings, have their own big streams, and they do it out of the kindness of their heart, and that to me just is incredible. And some of them have become extremely good friends, and these were when I was just starting out. So for anybody who's in this community with us, it's the best we got. Like, there's so many other communities out there that are so toxic, so cruel to other people. This is not one of those communities, nor will it be allowed to be one of those communities, because the cool thing about Dungeons and Dragons is you have to play with people. It's not a solo adventure. Please don't think it ever is. That's called a book. Go read. But there are people out there that want to play, and they're going to be from all walks of life, which is awesome. Off my soapbox for a moment, but yeah, no, I get a lot of passion for this because I didn't come from that kind of a community. As I tell people, my background isn't theater. My background isn't being comfortable behind a camera, talking in front of people, mind you. I'm an IT military guy. I'm completely out of my comfort zone. And people ask, well, how can you go to do these things? And I say, well, I don't know. It's the comfort I get from the community that allows me to.
Entirely.
Yeah. So.
Like, despite appearances, I'm introverted.
Same.
Yeah.
100%.
Like, there is an element of like there are personas that get put on for camera. But with the community, it's very much like you get to be yourself, and the community is going to welcome you. We love the weirdos. We accept them with open arms.
Well, yeah, and this is kind of something that developed when Dungeons and Dragons first was created. Back in the 70s and 80s, when this was considered, taboo and dangerous and potentially, oh goodness.
Oh my gosh, our children are doing math with dice.
Right? But no, we're going to go sacrifice people and, bleed out children. No, none of that. But for some reason, that was the persona that people got. And part of that is some people took it too far. That's with everything, though. And other things, people just didn't understand what it was. And now it's such an open concept, and people are willing to talk about it. And you find out that it has sparked a lot of creativity throughout the years that people didn't realize it was doing. And I think that's where it kind of continues to do that throughout the time. And look, it creates stuff out of nothing. Nothing. She pays $0 to do half of it. Like I said, because she's using things that she's already buying, or that she's being given, or heck, you pay $1 at a dollar store and you grab a couple things.
Yeah. I definitely don't have a bag from Dollar Tree next to my foot right now. Oh.
No, never. I'm gonna be that person. How many times a week do you go to the dollar store?
Not that often. I'll usually go maybe twice a month. Now, it does depend if I'm going on work travel. So I travel across California for my job, mostly within San Diego to like northern LA, and particularly into the east, with like the San Bernardino Valley. There are some areas that have better dollar stores than others. So like when I go to Apple Valley, the Apple Valley dollar store, chef's kiss. It's great. It has so much more than mine here in San Diego. So I definitely go more often if I'm on work travel and I have time to kill. Like these guys, I got them in Apple Valley. They're literally just like ceramic mushroom things that I'm gonna paint some windows on and turn into little houses. But it's definitely if I have time to kill and I don't have a current project, or even if I have a current project, I will go and peruse. I don't buy every time I go. Like there's some staples that if I'm like, I'm out of tea lights because I need to make some more tables or I need to make some more fire,
Right.
then I'll go and get some tea lights along with other things. But I like to window shop it.
Go out there and go, could use that in 6 months. I can use that in a month. Those types of things.
Yeah.
Or never. Those are those types of mentalities. So, how long does it normally take you to craft something?
Thing. I've had a few things over there for like 2 months.
Yeah.
That's because I haven't had a lot of like sting time recently. This took like total 4 hours, maybe. But a lot of it is waiting for things to dry.
Right.
I'm patient. Most of the rock terrain is I will put it together at night, and then in the morning I will paint it.
Okay.
And that's basically it.
So the only way you're going to be patient is if you can step away from it for a reason. So you prep things right before bed, go to sleep, wake up in the morning.
Not waiting for it to dry. I'm sleeping.
You're sleeping, right? You're using your productivity there in that perspective. And it tricks your mind that you don't have to worry about it. Which is the main thing we have to do. Yeah, I did the same thing over the weekend. I got into the painting kick. And it was like, okay, I'm going to prime... I probably primed 4 dozen miniatures. And I'd get groups of 5, like these guys here, and I'd paint their shirts blue, and I'd sit them down, and I'd grab the next 5, and I'd paint them, and then the next 5,
yeah, it's
paint
very
them.
much the assembly line.
Yeah, because then the thing is that by the time I done painting the third group, first group's finally dried, and I can go back and start detailing that one, and the same thing.
Basically.
And then the entire time I was watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, because we're getting ready to launch our next show in May. So yeah.
I remember seeing something about that as I fall off my chair.
We're gonna show off our at the end of the show. We're gonna show off our teaser trailer. And if you are a TikTok, Instagram streamer, and you're interested in the Avatar universe, reach out to us because we're still on casting call for the next week, where we're looking for 1 to 2 guests that potentially could join the party for the 3-4 month stint that we'll be running it. So, big stuff, fun stuff. Is there anything that you want to tell the audience and the people that are going to watch this down the road that might help them build?
Let's see. I don't have any good getting inspiration. The big thing is don't be afraid of it. Like I started literally just there goes a glue stick. With just an X-Acto knife and the end of the paintbrush. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need to go and buy all of these crazy tools. If you want to, do it. You don't need to. Get inspiration from people. Get all of these cool ideas from people, but don't feel like you ever have to be them. Your craft should be your own. It's very much make it your world. And no matter what you put down, your players are going to be happy. If they're not, they can make it themselves. It's all about having fun. It's about expressing all this creativity, about getting that out onto the table. It's like when we're talking about painting minis. Does it have paint on it? You're doing it correctly.
Right.
There are fancy techniques. There's all this like crazy materials and tools and all these things that you can buy.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
No, I had a friend of mine say the exact same thing to me because, like I said, I'm a newer painter, but I'm very much a perfectionist, and I went back and I went, I only have 12 colors of paint. I literally went and bought a basic paint set. And I was like, okay, this is all I have for colors. I don't have the time or money to spend anymore. And I started going through and I'm like, these just aren't vibrant enough. And my buddy looked at me and he goes, listen, you go to a convention and you drop minis on the table, nobody's going to complain. They're like, as long as they've got paint on them, you're good. Because 6,000 other minis are sitting in. So, and I was like, yeah, I know, I have about 300 of them sitting next to me, but I got the ones that are needed for the campaign done. That's all that mattered. So there is that. But yeah, no, definitely try new things out. Try to build with what you have. And like Ashlyn said, don't believe that you need to do something extravagant. Grab what you can get. Enjoy making it. There are amazing people out there that do nothing but cardboard and popsicle sticks. My friend Nate McGinnis, he's over on TikTok. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. That's all he does. Cardboard, uh, popsicle sticks, toothpicks, toilet roll wrappers, like those types of things, and that's all he uses. And he builds these amazing 3D terrain and everything. It's just, to me, it's incredible what you can do with very low resources. It just takes a lot of ingenuity and a lot of experimenting and kind of thinking outside of the box, or in the box, I guess, depending on how you want to talk about that. But
you just take it out of the box.
You got to take it out of the box first. Yeah, I guess you're right.
And then you break down the box and turn it into dungeon tiles.
Let's see here. Yeah. Try to see. Does anybody have any other questions to Ashlyn about either Kiki, her character, or for herself and all of the amazing things she's created? If not, we're gonna call last call here shortly. But yeah, no, all about the player immersion. This is another one. This guy here on chat right now, he was on our show a couple months ago. Heroes of Evermore does the exact same thing. They come up with crazy things, and he is the science teacher type character who goes and finds the science experiments that 6-year-olds do to bring his campaign to life, and I think that's awesome. So definitely good to have you here, buddy. Yep, the bubbling potions, the sparked fires. Like I said, the thought that comes that we can use to create these amazing things. It's funny because up until the world of streaming, the only people that ever knew about these things were the people that were. And how cool is it now that you can not only do it for people at your table, but you can share it for others to gain inspiration and creativity to themselves. My last question to you is, if I was looking into trying to come up with an idea, where do you get your inspiration?
It kind of depends. I steal a lot from video games if we're talking like DMing. But usually when I'm thinking of what terrain I need, I let my campaign tell me. Okay. Like, I will look and I'll see, I need this. Can I make do with anything that I already have? No? Okay, then I need to build something.
Nice.
And from there, it's just thinking about how I would do that. So, like on Monday, I'm doing, we're launching my Budget Build Battles new series on Instagram Live, and our theme is going to be Underwater Grotto. I have never made anything underwater before, so I am currently thinking about how I can utilize things that I already own and techniques that I've worked on to make that new sort of style.
Nice.
So pasta is going to be in there.
Pasta. Check it out, people. Actually, no. Apparently, we have a fan of yours because that was the next question they asked. Did she already go over the new battles? So, what is this new story you just talked about?
So, what the budget build battles are, it's like my OG. When I started my account, I did this with a few of my internet friends who also did like cheap things, and we would just compete within each other and we'd have the community vote. I'm now expanding it where every other Monday from 5 to 6 Pacific time, I'm going to be bringing a creator on, and we are going to have 1 hour to build something within a theme. We have $5, and everything has to be available at a dollar store. So this first one's going to be with Tristan, +1 crafting, and our theme is Underwater Grotto.
Underwater Grotto. So, what are some of the parameters that you're to like? Is there a size amount that you guys have to?
Not yet. Now this is the first one, so the rules are subject to change.
Makes sense. It's definitely been a ever growing thing, even here with the tavern between